China's flagship economic cooperation program is bouncing back after the global health crisis, with Africa as a primary focus. That's what's been shown through analysis of lending, investment, and trade data. Chinese leaders are citing the billions of dollars for new construction and record two-way trade as evidence of their win-win commitment to supporting the continent's modernization through the Belt and Road Initiative. The data, however, reveals a more complex relationship that is heavily weighted towards the extraction of minerals. Before the health crisis, China's engagement in Africa was heavily driven by sovereign lending, financing ports, hydropower plants, and railways across the continent. That peaked at $28.4 billion in 2016, according to the Global China Initiative at Boston University. But Chinese sovereign lending is now at its lowest level in 2 decades, and a rebound is not expected. Instead, Chinese policymakers have been pushing companies to get some skin in the game by taking equity stakes and operating infrastructure they build for foreign governments. The $668 million Nairobi Expressway is one example. It was built and is run by the state-owned China Road and Bridge Corporation through a public-private partnership. Since opening in August 2022, it has beaten revenue and usage targets. But few Chinese firms are following CRBC's example in Africa. When asked about a decline in lending for African infrastructure, Chinese officials point to a pivot to trade and investment, arguing Belt and Road Initiative trade boosts the continent's wealth and development. New Chinese investment in Africa increased 114% last year, according to the Griffith Asia Institute at Australia's Griffith University. However, it was heavily focused on minerals essential to the global energy transition and China's plans to revive its flagging economy. Data from Washington-based think tank the American Enterprise Institute showed investments hitting nearly $11 billion in 2023. That's the highest level since it began tracking Chinese economic activity in Africa in 2005. Some $7.8 billion of that went into mining, for minerals like copper, cobalt, and lithium. Critical minerals and oil have also dominated trade. But efforts to boost other imports from Africa, including agricultural products and manufactured goods, have faltered. That's seen the continent's trade deficit with China balloon. Two-way trade reached a record $282 billion last year, according to Chinese customs data. But the value of Africa's exports to China actually fell 7%, mainly due to a decline in oil prices. The trade deficit widened 46%. But the result of all this potentially is a more one-sided relationship than China says it wants. That is, one dominated by imports of Africa's raw materials. Some analysts argue there are echoes of colonial-era Europe's economic relations with the continent. China rejects such assertions. Its foreign ministry said Africa has the right, capacity, and wisdom to develop its own external relations and choose its partners. China's practical support for Africa's path of modernization in accordance with its own characteristics, it wrote, has been welcomed by an increasing number of African countries.